Next, I want to introduce the President and Executive Director of JFAN, Diane Rosenberg. Now, everyone on the JFAN board, many people in Fairfield community know that Diane not only provides leadership for JFAN, but also that no one is more dedicated or works harder day after day to protect Jefferson County from the threat of factory farms than Diane. She also works as a consultant for the Socially Responsible Agriculture Project, which carries out work similar to JFAN on the national level. Diane has a background in writing and publications and event promotion and community organizing, and all of this supports her work with JFAN. So please welcome Diane Rosenberg to remind us that what we do every day is important.
Thank you. I came across a quote by Jane Goodall the other day that I thought very apropos to share with you tonight. You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. All of us are sitting here tonight because we want to make a difference. We may be here because we want to hear and support all the exciting things that are going on in the world of regenerative agriculture. Perhaps we're here because of concerns about CAFOs and we want to learn more about what we can all do. You are all making a difference just by being here tonight, sending a very clear message to the corporate pork industry that you don't want more CAFOs in Jefferson County. I especially want to tell you tonight that you and many others are making a difference for Jefferson County. The JFAN board believes that several years ago, Jefferson County was targeted for CAFO expansion, just like what we've seen in neighboring Washington and Keokuk counties. But because members of the community stood up and said, "Not on our watch," now I'm echoing Marianne Williamson here, we've held down the number of CAFOs in the county to quite a great degree. Now this summer we had 3 CAFOs come into Jefferson County that got a lot of attention. Every year we do get some. It's inevitable. It's Iowa, the land with the welcome mat for CAFO development. Often when a CAFO is proposed in Jefferson County, 1 or 2 concerned neighbors may initially contact JFAN, but a community group often doesn't form to oppose it. These CAFOs are typically built in locations where there are fewer residents and little opposition. I like to think it's because the CAFO operators are picking sites using some of the principles in the JFAN Good Neighbor Guidelines. This year, something was different. This year, people came out in force, stood up and spoke out loudly about 3 CAFOs that were proposed. South of town, a community group immediately formed to address the Mike Keller CAFO. They held meetings, developed strategies, met with Keller himself several times, and they're looking into legal remedies should it prove to be a nuisance. Jefferson County residents packed the courtroom during a master matrix public hearing for Mark Reiner's expansion 5 miles north of Fairfield. The supervisor's office was filled with concerned residents during both master matrix scoring sessions. And the response to the 7,500 head Huber CAFO was enormous. Emails, letters, phone calls, letters to the editor, more than I've ever seen on one topic, sent to both Bill Huber and the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors, who I have to say greatly disappointed us with their approach to this CAFO. 300 people turned out to an emergency meeting, and hundreds of public comments, postcards, and petition signatures were collected and sent to Bill Huber and Jefferson County supervisors. Everyone who was engaged in these fights are making a difference for Jefferson County. All of you deserve a warm round of applause for all your efforts to stand up, Speak out and say not on our watch. Now, you may be thinking, did we really accomplish anything? After all, these CAFOs are moving forward. Well, I say yes, and this is why. Now, remember when I said every year Jefferson County gets some CAFOs? Well, despite all the attention these three high-profile CAFOs received this summer, we actually had fewer factory farms proposed this year than in previous years. And that's a fact. Some people feel we're becoming inundated. We're not. Jefferson County does a lot better than many other counties in the state. CAFOs tend to be built where there is little opposition. When one is proposed and neighbors don't respond, CAFO owners may take that for a green light and keep moving forward with more in that area. I have seen that happen time and again. But in communities where people rise up, something different takes place. Like in Des Moines County. In 2014, Bill Huber and AgriWay Partners built 6 CAFOs at one time. The community said, not on our watch, and immediately formed a community group. When they couldn't stop the confinements, they pursued legal action when the CAFOs inevitably became a nuisance. They continue to monitor for new CAFOs. They've got a rep for doing that. The result? AgriWay Partners has steered clear of this neighborhood even in the midst of their expansion efforts. Same thing in Wayne County, as you heard up here before. The community rose up decisively, stopped a 7,500 head Iowa Select sow operation, and Iowa Select stayed away from their neighborhood even in the midst of their massive expansion efforts. I truly believe that Bill Huber was not expecting nor not prepared for the enormous response he received when he proposed a confinement in a sparsely populated area of the county where many CAFOs already exist. I truly believe he will think twice before he considers Jefferson County again, as may other CAFO operators. Last year, 1,300 and more Jefferson County residents stood up firmly and told Jefferson County supervisors, we want a factory farm moratorium resolution. Even though the supervisors once again disappointed us, you all certainly didn't. Your efforts shouted loudly and clearly that Jefferson County is not a place where infringing CAFOs are welcome. And that very well may be why we had less CAFOs this year than in previous years. And no, I don't think this is a result of the trade wars, because the industry is still expanding, and the impacts of the tariffs will more likely be felt next year. All this kind of activity helps to create a deterrent for unfettered CAFO development in Jefferson County, where we have a fraction of the number of CAFOs that Washington and Keokuk counties do. I want to tell you just a few more ways that you and others around the state are making a difference. Last year at this time, we had 17 counties that either passed resolutions or wrote letters calling for a moratorium or revised master matrix. Today, I'm happy to say that we now have 23 counties, and that number is growing. This is because people are speaking out around the state and demanding change. Even better, during this year's legislative session, we had a bill calling for a factory farm moratorium introduced by Senator David Johnson, along with 14 other bills to fix loopholes in CAFO regulations. This happened because the demand for change grows louder around the state, here in Jefferson County, every day. And Senator Johnson wanted to make a difference for all the people he saw suffering around the state. Now, that bill might not have gotten very far at the State House, but let me tell you, around the state it generated a lot of public attention on the moratorium. The press covered it. 2 gubernatorial candidates made it a part of their campaign, and several members of the House co-sponsored the House version. We are confident the bill will be introduced again this year in the House and possibly in the Senate, despite Senator Johnson's retirement from public office. People are also making a difference in the court system. Now that the Supreme Court has ruled on the challenge to the right to farm law, the bottom line, nothing much has changed. Attorney David Sykes and his litigation associates in Des Moines are moving forward with 6 cases, and others are being considered for future litigation. These cases shine a spotlight on CAFO issues and the rights that Iowans should have to the peaceful enjoyment of their homes. You too are an instrument of change when you speak out against infringing CAFOs in your neighborhoods and around the county. You too can make a difference by making food choices produced with regenerative agricultural practices, not CAFOs. You can be an instrument of change by lobbying for better laws with calls, emails, and trips to Des Moines, urging your state legislators to support a factory farm moratorium and other essential regulatory changes. You can make a difference by learning the positions and track records of all the candidates and elected officials and getting out to vote on November 6th. Your vote does make a difference. And please bring your friends and family to the polls too. Their vote makes a difference too. We deserve a better agricultural system. And we deserve a factory farm moratorium until farmers like those we're going to hear from tonight are the rule rather than the exception. We can all be part of making that change happen. Join me in doing all you can to make a difference for yourselves, your families, and for the future generations of Jefferson County and Iowa. Remember, you cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. Thank you.